Aloha everyone and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Marissa Indigo and I am a professional oracle. I'm the founder of Divine DNA Blueprint Mystery School, clinical Ayurvedic specialist, and intuitive evolutionary astrologer. I am a code keeper, meaning that I receive information from our beautiful planet Gaia, our amazing sun Solaris, various planets, asteroids, star family, the elementals, essentially everything that is here for us. I listen deeply to what they are speaking for us all and transcribe the codes to support you at this time in a conscious navigation of the awakening journey. So thank you so much for joining me. If you're new, I just wanted to share a little bit about what I do, what my purpose of service is here to support you all at these momentous times. Well, thank you so much for joining me today as we are going to talk a little bit about Mercury. Oh, Mercury. Wow. Well, I have a lot to share about this magnificent, tiny, fast-moving planet. And the intention with this podcast today is to really support you in expanding your understanding and having a whole new set of reference for how to work with this incredible energy in our lives. Mercury started to go into its shadow period on August 3rd. So you may have noticed already in August, just little things. Sometimes it's hard to find the words, or you might be hearing something backwards or saying something backwards. It really depends on you and your chart. So Mercury is actually officially retrograde from August 23rd until September 14th. So it's first important to know that the planets, they have a whole cycle about them with their movement. So even though a retrograde may officially be delineated on a certain day, there may be quite an extensive period before the official retrograde movement happens where it's in shadow, where we can start to actually feel the effects of it already. So it's always just important to know from an astronomy point of view with the calculations, and they all have their own tracks that they move in their own time. So Mercury is the fastest moving planet in our galactic quadrant, and it is also known as the messenger of the gods. And Mercury, actually being the messenger of the gods, also rules astrology, bringing in those messages. It is the planet that moves the fastest. So it's almost, if you can imagine Hermes, Mercury with his winged sandals flying between all of the gods and goddesses in the sky, back and forth, the postal service, right? Bringing the information. I want to share a little bit about why I'm so excited about sharing this information is because for years I dreaded Mercury retrograde. I really dreaded it. I really gave a lot of power away to it. I felt like, something outside of me had control over my life and my electronics and technology and my brain and my car. Things would always go wrong. I always was just kind of almost expecting things to go wrong just based on the very basic information that we receive unless we're guided to dive more deeply into studying astrology. So Mercury rules communication, and that could be literally speaking with your voice, emails. It could also be the delivery of information. So let's say you're trying to plan and coordinate and the person never gets it. So it's one of those things where you really want to check the details, make sure that, oh, did you get that email from me? Or, I think I heard this from you. Is that what you said? Like, you want to be extra thorough, right, with your communication. It also rules travel. You think about Mercury, the element of Mercury. And so travel and all of those just kind of little plans, you want to be really flexible. If you make travel plans during a Mercury retrograde period, you can just be mentally prepared that there may be some shifts and changes in the details, in the how, in the timing. Maybe you get rerouted, and it's really just about surrendering control and just trusting that this is all for you, for your betterment in some way through the divine. What's really fascinating about Mercury is that it goes retrograde 4 times a year. And after over 10 years of studying astrology and working with it in my own life, I feel very fortunate to have learned that Mercury retrograde is our opportunity to come into the 0 point and to surrender the linear mind functioning and to come into more heart-centered living. And so it's just really amazing when we start to expand our perceptions of what's going on. For me, with so much Aries in my chart, it's like, no, I want to do it my way and I'm in control and nothing tells me what to do. I'm the authority. Nothing outside of me is going to control me. Aries have a lot with authority and perceived authority. And so for the longest time, when I felt more separated from the universe and from the planets and the stars, I would feel annoyed and I would dread this period, just feeling like, oh, it's just going to fuck up my whole life and my schedule, until I learned how to work with it. And so now I want to offer this quantum perspective of working with Mercury, particularly when it goes into retrograde. What I feel now, what I have discovered through the experiment of just living my own life consciously to the best of my ability in each moment, is that Mercury going retrograde 4 times a year for quite an extensive period, sometimes a couple weeks, is the opportunity for us to slow down and reassess and review and run everything that we have developed in that last section of time since the previous retrograde, of what we've been working on, and filtering it all through the heart, all through heart-centered, 0 point quantum consciousness. Is this all fully aligned? Is this highest aligned? This project I've been working on, this relationship, whatever it is that you have been working on, putting energy into, developing, really feeling passionately about. Mercury going retrograde 4 times a year is like this opportunity for us to get super ritualistic and expanded from a quantum state of perception. So we're not bullshitting ourselves just through the linear mind, to enable us to really see, am I on track with this? Oh, was that the highest aligned expression in that form? So I hope this is supportive, because we can start to take our power back. Instead of having resistance and thinking that, the universe is trying to fuck up our lives, right? Which is a huge victim consciousness that I know many of us have had. I know I had that. And start to see, oh, okay, this isn't energetic for us. Yes, it can do certain things with our technology, with our communication. It can make things more challenging in a way. And so if we know that, then what do? Prepare accordingly, right? Batten down the hatches, be really thorough. Know that you may have to ask someone, oh, did you get that email from me? Did you get my text? Just knowing that there could be issues with communication where you have to double check, sometimes triple check, sometimes quadruple check. Be mindful of that. Just be aware of it. And take this opportunity to go so deeply into the 0 point quantum state within your own heart center that you get to run everything through and rewrite it again. Edit, review, reassess. It's all the words, right? Reread. And so it's a good time to really just take a moment and take a beat, take a pause, slow down, and allow more information to come forth on all of these things from a really expanded state of heart-centered living. So it's really cool once we start to key into the language and understand what these different planets are doing for us, because it is all for us, through us, living this live, in live time. We are a part of the universe. It flows through us. Astrology is like a cosmic song and dance of these waves that ripple through our being. So if we can start to shift and be open to looking at all of these ancient ones as kind of these elder teachers, right? These elder master teachers, they all have their own flavors, frequencies, teachings for us. And this is the most amazing opportunity. So we are forced with Mercury retrograde to not be so linear in the mind. And this fucks with a lot of people, right? That are very linear or that have a lot of Mercury, right? But that's the whole point. The universe is constantly initiating us to give us the opportunity to come into our fullness, to come into our wholeness, to come into a new way that is much more expanded and holistic, or quantum, of taking in information, of assessing and reviewing and filtering and seeing, is this highest aligned for me? Do I need to make some shifts and changes here? Does this manuscript need a couple more tweaks here? Here I thought the draft was done and there's a little more that I'm realizing is really important, or that section actually isn't as important and can be omitted. It's really about taking our time in this now, in this 0 point, to really feel through. And that is a total paradigm shift from how I used to perceive it, which was this horrendous thing. I always would have, issues with my cars. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And, missed appointments and just so much frustration, right? So much frustration. Now we look at it in an entirely new light of, yeah, this is the opportunity to shake up our linearity, to break us out of where we have these ingrained kind of unconscious autopilot ways of functioning, thinking, communicating, doing, being, whatever, and really help us to bring new and deeper layers into our conscious experience. So very different, right, from dreading it. I hope that this gives you some empowerment with how to work with this energy, and encourage you, if you're curious, you can go to, it's a astro theme astrotheme.com, and you can put in your information and see where's your Mercury in your chart. I have Mercury in Aries. For me, the frustration was real, right? The control and like being so mad at the universe, being like, you can't control my life, almost like a rebellious teenager, And so this is a huge shift for me, just these last few years of coming into a much deeper appreciation. And now I also want to add that I receive some of the most wonderful transmissions from the universe, from source, from my soul, from my Akash with Mercury retrogrades because of everything I mentioned that it kind of disturbs. It puts us into a deeper state of being and interconnectivity versus that linearity. And so this can be especially powerful now, this next retrograde cycle, because so many of the planets are going to be in retrograde. Every planet except for Mars is going to be in retrograde. So it's going to be very interesting if you start to think of all of the flavors of the planets and their wisdom teachings for us, how that will impact us. Powerful time for a pause, taking a deep breath, taking it all in and being open to doing things in new ways and just receiving the information. So it's a really amazing opportunity for kind of a co-creative, a co-partnering with source, with the universe, with these different things that you're working on. And as far as preparing, like I shared, we've been in this kind of shadow and pre-shadow of Mercury going retrograde for a while now. And it's going retrograde on the 23rd of August until September 14th. So we have a couple weeks here as we get into September. And it's going to be an amazing opportunity for everyone. And so if we know when these cycles are coming, and it's always good, mark your calendar, just know, happens 4 and sometimes 5 times a year, Mercury retrograde, depending on the rigorousness of the teachings of the planets of that year, that calendar year. Just start to prepare yourself. Has it been a while since you've had your car looked at and had done some maintenance on your car, right? Or maintenance even on your body and your health and your lifestyle and your routines. It's also an opportunity for a huge reset for us to come into greater integrity with balancing our energy, having good boundaries, eating the right kind of food, good water, and having a good sleep schedule, all of these kinds of things. And with communication, just always make sure. And I will be very upfront with people. I'll say, well, we're in Mercury retrograde, so I just want to make sure, does this make sense to you? Or did you get this email or this text or whatever it is, right? Because when you're scheduling, interviews and appointments with people, I just want to make sure that it's all very clear, because someone else could take something completely differently in their mind based on their Mercury and where they are at too in their journey. And so you just want to double check, triple check, quadruple check. Hey, does this make sense to you? Or I heard this. Is that what you said? Is that what you meant? Or I'm not sure I understood. Could you say that again? Just being thorough, being a really thorough investigator, right? Make no assumptions and just be present and have fun and open yourself to receive from the universe, receive really brilliant, genius, innovative ways of doing things, maybe new projects, new creativity coming forth, all new ideas, really inspired solutions maybe also. That's the biggest one that I love, is inspired solutions maybe to things I've been eager for a solution for a long time, right? I hope that this can support you in starting to really enjoy what is thrown at us. It's all for us, and it's a big song and dance, and the more fun we can have with it and just honor that, this is how this cycle works. And also make sure you back up on your computer, right? So all these different things we can do to prepare as best as we can for Mercury and make the most of it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Wishing you an amazing Mercury retrograde season. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of awesome downloads, right? Because when we're in that receptive state versus the resistant state, right? When we're tensed up, like, oh God, this is going to suck. And I hate it when this happens. I hate this time. Well, then you've kind of preset it to not be super awesome. So the idea is to open up to, how can this work for me? How can this work through me? What can I receive? What can I expand? And giving us the opportunity to be even better communicators, both in written form, right, verbally, all of these amazing opportunities for us. So please enjoy and share this with anyone that you think that this may assist, because the more fun we're having, the more we know the flow and the language of the universe, it can just start to become a much more enjoyable and expansive experience for us, where we are receiving and flowing and creating instead of feeling tensed up and not really having that good of a time for weeks, right? You deserve to have a good time. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you for the next video.